I would have been fine with just the one Promise song, but you add on a second, even better. And coming off of our first reintroduction of sorts to Red on this channel, following Surrogates with Minus It All, what a beautiful return to this group, especially to go back into mainstream Red on expression of what I've known from them for about 13 years now, being experienced to their works. Again, top, as I've said in previous occurrences, top favorite group of mine. Ever since I brought on music coverage, an expression on this channel. There's been other groups as well that have fit this mold of, I've been meaning to get to them, given a new opportunity whenever that would come. Red, I have been dying to introduce an opportunity to enjoy them in company together, especially on the first introduction regard, as we experience music mutually, on debut interaction perhaps. And with Rated R, we are in for something special, whether it be considerations of Surrogates or the number we just listened to, Minus It All. Two divergent numbers of sorts, equally beautiful on the Red capabilities. I mean, again, I've generally welcomed their craftsmanship in the metal territory. I've been a long-standing fan for a reason. It just speaks again to their credits as artists. If you've never been introduced, to just set a baseline of introduction for you in simple form, a long-standing Christian rock and metal group. I put them in both circles. I think it's a little more inclusive to where Red goes, because there's a bit of a variability in expression from them. Alternative, hard rock, heavy metal, that type of vein. You're going to love them, though. If you're just into good music generally, you might not even necessarily be a rock fan specifically. Maybe just into Christian music specifically. That could also for sure be your ticket in. But if you're just into good music generally, and you love exploring good art, which I love to do on this channel, I love showcasing whatever I can in terms of that attribution. Red certainly qualifies, as do many other artists. You're going to be in for a fun time. And I hope, again, there's a mixture of perspective and approach with Red here. Whether many of you are familiarized fans, and of course I welcome your company, or if any of you are first initiates, I hope that there are some of you that fit that mold. I can't wait for you to be introduced to Red. Coming off of Minus It All, I would recommend, of course, in anticipation of consulting Cold World with me for the first time, as we're about to do in a second, I would not neglect to take notice of Surrogates and Minus It All if you've not yet introduced yourself to those particular numbers, and maybe compare where Cold World goes. I mean, as I said with Surrogates, with the synth presence, that was a bit, to the level that it was emphasized in the song, a bit different from their taste. It felt like a fresher release versus Minus It All, which is a little more mainstream Red, especially when you intertwine that strings presence. Notable since the beginning with them. It maybe changes on presence, from track to track, or maybe even album to album, but anything of a symphonic metal vibe easily connects. I love orchestral things or any sound like that. Anything classical interwoven of metal. There's just so many talents in that particular space I absolutely love. Many have been introduced to on this channel in terms of fresh impressions as artists. Not Red specifically. Again, I've been familiarized for a long time. But to hear that return in such proficiency, and even better, welcome that with you. First introduction to, I would say, mainstream Red. And it was just beautiful. Still getting over how good that one is, but let's build off of that with Cold World. I like the name already. I've not looked at this track in detail, even just on the lyrics. We're going to experience that together for ourselves mutually, which I think music is better enjoyed that way. It's fine in isolation, but it's just not the same. To provide an opportunity to explore music again collaboratively, I think makes this experience even richer, especially if I can anyway manage this, and it is a hopeful goal of mine, to provide routes for you to access new artists who have not yet been introduced. And maybe some of you, again, fit that mold of Red. I hope this is a fun opportunity for you. I take it on faith. I know this is going to be promising already. We've had such a great introduction to what I would imagine will be such a hospitable album to welcome in its entirety, and doors open for that, as far as I'm concerned for the future. Again, long-standing particular ambition to highlight Red and to make good on that satisfies me greatly. Any of you long-standing Red fans, I'm sure, can expect exactly what I'm feeling here with Cold World as we get to explore it together. I feel no pain anymore. Okay, so this is the one that's been clipped out on like their Instagram pages. I'm not the same anymore. There's been a small bit. Here we go, this is putting my jaw fresh. Softer interlude. Let's see if there's a twist again, like their past numbers. I'm loving how hard this album is, generally. Nice ticking on the percussion, that works really well here. The pacing has released this like high caliber excellence from them. I'm really liking the imagination with this one. Beautiful closure in the chorus, the spiral pattern to the instrumental and the vocals, great mimicry of the narrative. This is beautifully mixed. Every element is here. Strings and synth too. And it works. I love how each number is just topping the next on creativity. Minus It All and Surrogates are great, but this one's particularly unique. It's a satisfied inspiration. You can tell it wants to be so many different things. An element expression, and it works solidly. Let's consider the buffet that song is, because there's a lot offered there, again, on mainstream expectations. I'm going to give that qualifier. I think it follows closely with Minus It All in that respect. These two numbers are intertwined, a little more so than I would say Surrogates is, where that one is a bit separated. Not, again, discounting it, because I think it's a great number, but that one is a little fresher on envisionment. These two I mean, there's still an originalist trait to both of these songs in their entirety, but these do more so fit the mold of what you expect with Red. Given familiarized listens in their back catalog, knowing the agents they oftentimes will employ in their expression, you see all that here, but everything's intertwined so nicely. And here we have a great example of what I said with the comparison to Surrogates, where that one is more synth emphasis, and that's not necessarily been a trait that's been on display in past songs to my memory. This one employs it more as a background agent or as an accessory. That I'm a little more used to, and it's blended well with the strings. That worked nicely, and even the strings take on a bit more of a background role. This is much more like a mainstream rock-rooted song, and it has such a beautiful trait to it. Again, the path we go down on it, plus that fast... well, I'll say this to the credit of all three songs. The misdirects on the introductions, I'm really liking this twist. I don't know if Rated R as an entirety construction will follow that pattern. We will probably see for ourselves in the future, but these free numbers at least have followed on that consistency, where you get introduced and you think, this is the mood we're going for, okay, but softer, a little subtler with this one, maybe takes on more of a ballad, pseudo-ballad presence, but then immediately throttles back into that rock. Again, that's been persistent with Surrogates and Minus It All, but there is that change on expression. But I love the evolution of a number here. The quick and pacing, that rapidity, it's so immediate. It's just such a good throttle into an engaging work of a beautiful key choice. And I love when audio and narrative blend. I love when there's that mixture and you start to picture that experience visually for yourself, just on the internal. When you approach that chorus down again and you start to, you picture that line because you hear it in the mood of the song. It's so, and the vocal application specifically, it just works. This song, brilliant evolution to it. And I really feel that it is a good package of everything with Red. Whereas maybe some other songs don't use specific traits. Let's say, for example, Minus It All, which I also said was more mainstream adjacent to Red expectations based on library pattern of the past. That one doesn't I mean, I'm just coming off my first introduction to it, not on repeat listens yet, though I will certainly give it to that track because it's good. I don't remember a synth application there at all. Maybe it was subtle if so, but this piece seems, at least for me, to expand again on different tools Red oftentimes employs, but they're all interwoven together. It amazes me how fine-tuned this is and how efficiently it works. And even the narrative, to not overlook it, that's also of strength. I mean, that's particularly true of Red releases of the past as well. Incredibly dramatic. Again, the visualization to this song as you proceed through it is great. I love that accompaniment. I'm not the same anymore, just your cold embrace. I see your light through the dark, but I hide my face. How do we find a way to a better place? Again, it's a on-point line, I think. It's not... Whereas maybe some of her songs of Red maybe dive into a poetic feeling. I love when that happens. This one is a little more direct and realistic. Again, there's those songs that, if you're experienced and familiarized to Red, they do diverge at times, depending on the song's mandates and where the band wants to go. But it's equally impressive as always here. Again, I love the mood and just that picture you experience as you witness this song. It's great. I love the feeling of it. And just to be satisfied with such a killer instrumental, it's a solid number. Third entry, and I'm having a great time. I've rated R. And I hope for those of you who have taken the journey with me, you are too. I would imagine every one of you would say that. But, music is very much a subjective experience, as generally all art is. So I'd love to hear it. Of course, I welcome any discourse down below if you do wish to provide that on your feedback with this song. And from whatever angle of approach you take, long-time Red fan like myself or a fresh introduction, I really hope there are some of you that fit that billing. I'd love to hear about your thoughts on Cold World down below. And maybe the evolution of Rated R if you've experienced it with me, or maybe just by yourself at this point. What do you think of this album, 3 tracks in? I think, as I said, we're in for something special. And of course, as I said, open door policy to really any of the artists I cover here, and Red is no exception. I'm looking forward to witnessing more in the future. For sure, we will be doing that with Rated R when given an opportunity. We've had 3 beautiful encounters with a killer album thus far, so why not continue the journey? And I'm sure whatever track we get next will be equally as competent as so far. All the numbers, including Cold World. This one's really impressive to me. Again, like every number, easy repeat listen. I'm sure it'll be just an exquisite encounter. Again, to make good on my long-standing ambition to highlight Red, alongside many of her favorite artists for sure, to not overlook anybody, but Red specifically, I've been waiting to highlight them and have such a wonderful opportunity. Is an absolute pleasure. And to showcase their art with you, to highlight another great artist, just an honor. And I love what we're witnessing together with Rated R. It's something special, in my opinion, for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.